Hello and welcome to the Commander's Quarters, your Magic the Gathering source that helps you command your budget. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all their support. Hello and welcome to Magic News Today with Mitch. I'm your host Mitch, and this is your Magic News Today. Today, a major ban restricted announcement was made for multiple formats, and we'll talk about what was banned and where. Also in that announcement, a rules change when it comes to how Cascade works. We'll start off with that Cascade rules change and talk about what it is and why it was made. This part of the information from the article is provided by Magic Rules manager Jess Dunks. And Jess had this to say: Modal dual face cards, otherwise known as MDFCs, were designed to allow both faces to be playable in all situations. For example, if an effect lets you cast spells from your graveyard, players expect to be able to cast either face. Feedback has shown us, however, that in situations where certain criteria are mentioned, being able to play or cast the back face when it doesn't meet those criteria is not intuitive. This confusion, plus being allowed to cast spells without paying their mana cost that you shouldn't be able to, makes Cascade an issue. As a result, we're tweaking Cascade such that the spell you cast off the triggered ability must also have a lesser converted mana cost than the spell with Cascade. So let's run through the quick example that was given in the announcement as well. Say that I cast Bloodbraid Elf, which has Cascade, and she also costs 2 red-green or 4 converted mana cost in total. So when I cast this spell, I exile cards from the top of my library until I exile a non-land card that costs less. I can cast it without paying its mana cost, and I put the exile cards on the bottom of the library in a random order. Up until this rule change, if I cascaded into a card like Valki, God of Lies, which is an MDFC, I could cast either side. Typically with a card like Bloodbraid Elf, you'd only be able to cast something that's got a converted mana cost of 3 or less. But with an MDFC, since you can technically cast either side and Valki's converted mana cost was just 2, you could basically cast either side that you wanted. So because of the interaction with Cascade and MDFCs, you could cheat out a much bigger spell than you were supposed to. So because of a problematic interaction like this one, Cascade's rules text has been changed to this: when you cast this spell, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card whose converted mana cost is less than this spell's converted mana cost. You may cast that spell without paying its mana cost if its converted mana cost is less than this spell's converted mana cost. Then put all cards exiled this way that weren't cast on the bottom of your library in a random order. So now the interaction works like this: you cast your Bloodbraid Elf, then you Cascade. If you hit Valki, God of Lies, you can still cast the Valki side, but you are unable to cast the Tybalt side. This is again because of the text. You may cast that spell without paying its mana cost if its converted mana cost is less than this spell's converted mana cost. The Valki side, which is the front side, has a converted mana cost of 2, which is less than 4. But the back side, which is the Tybalt side, has a converted mana cost of 7, which of course is not less than 4. Now there are still certain MDFCs that you'd be able to cast either side. Let's walk through that same example but with a different MDFC. Let's say again that you cast Bloodbraid Elf, which has a converted mana cost of 4. You Cascade and hit Cosima, God of the Voyage, which has a converted mana cost of 3. The backside is the Omunkeel, which has a converted mana cost of 2. So in this situation, you could cast either side since both have a converted mana cost less than 4. So with this rules change, it's not that MDFCs don't work with Cascade, it's that there's a clarification to what you can cast with them. In some situations, you can cast either side, but in others, you can only cast the front side. Now, this Cascade change doesn't only impact MDFCs, but also cards like Adventures. So again, if you cast Bloodbraid Elf, you're going to be cascading until you hit something with 3 CMC or less. Now let's say this time that you hit Fae of Wishes. Fae of Wishes does have a converted mana cost of 2. It also has an adventure called Granted that costs 3 in a blue or 4 mana in total. So though you can cast Fae of Wishes, you cannot cast the adventure. But if that adventure had cost 3 or less, you'd be able to. So like MDFCs when it comes to Cascade, if you've got an option to cast something, it still has to meet that same requirement. One other note that was made in the article is that this change does not impact split cards. The converted mana cost of a split card is both halves put together. If you cascade into a split card with lesser converted mana cost in total than the spell with Cascade, you can cast either half without paying its mana cost. So again, while this Cascade change does impact things like MDFCs or adventure cards, it doesn't impact split cards. But now let's move on and talk about the larger portion of this article with the banned and restricted announcement. Last week with the announcement of a secret lair, we also got a hint that a certain card was going to be banned in multiple formats. But the BNR announcement today was much larger than many Magic players anticipated. So let's start things off by talking about the changes in Historic. First off, Omnath Locus of Creation, which was suspended, is now banned. According to the article, data indicates that diversity and interest in the meta would be harmed by reintroducing the card now. And the other ban in Historic comes with the hint that we got last week with Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. According to the article, decks built around this card are the most played in Historic and have been for a while. The steady dominance of this card shows that it's too powerful for the format. So these are the two cards that are banned in Historic, but again, we're going to be seeing Uro here in a little bit. So now let's move on to the bans in Pioneer. Overall, there are 5 bans in Pioneer, and let's start off with the most obvious one again with Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. Uro's power level is again mentioned to be out of line with other cards and strategies available in Pioneer. So play data and community feedback have supported the decision to ban Uro. Next up on the chopping block is Teferi Time Raveler. Removing this card from the format will lower the power level of Niv to Light decks, which are some of the most played and most winning of the format. But by banning Teferi to keep another deck in check, Wilderness Reclamation has been banned as well. Without Teferi to hold them in check, Wilderness Reclamation decks would be on the rise. So this is a preemptive ban. And finally, 2 cards from the Upsal Spells deck are banned as well, and let's start with Balustrade Spy. With a deck with MDFC lands, this has the ability to mill your entire library. And the same can be said about Undercity Informer, which is also banned. Both are banned in Pioneer because of the concerning win rate of these types of decks, as well as the difficulty in interacting with this type of strategy. But now it's time to move on to the bans in Modern. Just as in Historic and Pioneer, Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath has been banned in Modern. For similar reasons, including power level, it is banned here as well. Also, Field of the Dead has been banned as well because it creates repetitive and non-interactive game states. The same is said about Mystic Sanctuary, which also receives a ban as well. So to promote more gameplay interaction, both of these lands have been banned. And then Simian Spirit Guide has been banned as well. As a quick combo enabler, it's been watched for quite some time. To slow down the types of combo decks that use this, it's been banned. And speaking of combo, the brand new Tybalt's Trickery is now banned in Modern. In Modern, Tybalt's Trickery has a problematic interaction with Cascade. Because of this, Wizards believes that it contributes to more non-games and it makes Modern less fun to play. So although Tybalt's Trickery is a brand new card, it is now banned. Now let's quickly move on to Legacy and talk about the 3 cards that were banned there. Oko Thief of Crowns is now banned in Legacy. Just as it's banned in pretty much everywhere else outside of Commander, it has now been banned in Legacy as well. And for all the reasons that it's banned elsewhere, it is now banned here. Next up, another card that has already been banned in Modern is now also banned in Legacy with Arkham's Astrolabe. To improve metagame diversity, this card has been banned. And the final ban in Legacy is Dreadhorde Arcanist. According to the article, it has proven to be powerful and game-defining in a way that further adds to cards and strategies that were already among the most powerful, like Temur Delver. So because of that, Dreadhorde Arcanist got the ban as well. But finally, now let's move on to Vintage and talk about the one change there. This one actually isn't a ban, but an unban with Lurrus of the Dream Den. Originally, Lurrus was banned in Vintage before the additional mana change. Again, that change being to the companion rule where you had to pay 3 mana to get the card into your hand. With that change in mind, Lurrus has now been unbanned. And that wraps up your Magic news for the day. Thanks again for joining me, and as always, thanks again, and have a good one.